This is Rumi.
Ah.
Tomorrow you say you'll set out for your true self. Fool, dive today from the cliff of what you know into what you can never know. You fear the rocks below? Better men and women have died on them. Dying on love's rocks is
Oh.
nobler than a life of hesitancy. There he is.
Oh.
This is Rabia, who was later on was Babajan. Dear one, how long will you keep pounding on an open door, begging to be let in?
I love that one. Say that again.
Beautiful.
Dear one, how long will you keep pounding on an open door, begging to be let in? Beautiful.
Open up the door, Lord.
And it's open. This is Mother Teresa. In my years of work amongst the people, I have come more and more to realize that it is being unwanted that is the worst disease that any human being can ever experience.
Oh, wow.
For all kinds of diseases, there are medicines and cures. But for being unwanted, unless there are willing hands to serve and hearts to go on loving them and look at them as Christ, I don't think this terrible disease can ever be cured.
Mm.
Wow.
Profound. Wow.
Yeah. Whoever we truly take into our hearts goes everywhere with us. That's a Sufi saying. Whoever we truly take into our hearts goes everywhere with us,
Mm.
even those who have passed on. This is Rumi. Miracles, both secret and open, flow from the beloved, the tiniest of which is this: whoever comes near him becomes drunk with the divine. Whenever he reaches out to caress someone nearby, why are we so moved? Because, by ways we cannot see, the sight of that links our soul back to the source of all love. And here's the last one. This is for
Could
this.
you repeat that one, please,
Yeah.
Jackie?
Okay. Miracles, both sweet and open, flow from the beloved, the tiniest of which is this: whoever comes near him becomes drunk with the divine. Whenever he reaches out to caress someone nearby, why are we so moved? Because by ways we cannot see, the sight of that links our soul back to the source of all love.
Mm. Oh.
And this is the last one. This is for Lanita. She had a good Catholic upbringing here. Saint Teresa of Avila
Mm.
told her nuns, Christ has no body now on earth but yours, no hands but yours, no feet but yours.
Mm.
We have the privilege of becoming his hands and feet, but we have to discipline ourselves to do it. Erich, and I would like to get this further, but Erich said on a number of occasions that Baba is always physically on earth. Kind of
Mm.
shocking, but he is always here. Now, I would like to, if anybody can find, it's too bad we don't have these young people that can pull up the quote, but I mean, of course, people have seen Baba at the center physically, felt his physical touch on the center over the years. But here, Erich was saying that Bob is always physically on the earth. Now, have you heard that, any of you?
Oh, well, I've heard that he's always in a minor incarnation. He's always present.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So, be careful how you treat your fellow beings.
Really?
I didn't know that. Always in a minor
Yeah.
incarnation.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what Eric said, and but that's very hopeful.
yeah.
Um, you know, one of the things which is beautiful, and Erich and Darwin used to say this uh, about the, I guess you might say, the proper use of the imagination. Like we use the imagination for all sorts of things. We imagine we're going to win the lottery. We imagine that we have a nice, beautiful house overlooking the ocean. We imagine a lot of different things, but those things may or may not happen. But Erich and Darwin used to say, if you imagine Baba being in the room, in your room, sitting on the sofa or on the chair, that he's in the room with you, that is true. I mean, we say when it's cloudy and overcast, the sun isn't out. But if the clouds separate, you see the sun has been there all along. And if you imagine Baba being there with you, however you picture him, if our clouds of our sanskars would separate, he would be sitting right there. And however you want to picture him, Baba said, "I am whatever you take me to be." So he could be a playmate over there, or a judge scrutinizing your every move, or he's always there.
Mm.
In fact, there's a Christian saying, the saints found Jesus within them. The early Christians found him beside them. So for the next whatever 100 years, he is. I mean, the Mandalay Baba has said he is. It's like he's physically with us. But so yeah, when I wake up in the morning, in a grogginess, I say, I gotta get him in the room. When I know he's in the room, when I can assert that, then my day starts out on the right footing. And he's definitely not judgmental. Very, very lovely.
Jeff,
Yeah,
Jeff,
yeah.
how you know that he's there? What's the feeling? What's the certainty? What's the whatever it is that gives you that certainty that in that moment he is there in your room?
Yeah. It's at a heart level. There's a certain place of our heart that can kind of know and feel his presence and know that he's there. Um, but even if you don't feel it, act as if he is there. I mean, Erich would say, just kid yourself. He used the word, just kid yourself that he's there. And you kid yourself, but eventually, after you're kidding yourself, you find out he was there all along. Your kidding was actually based on the truth. So it's not saying, oh, I don't feel he's there. I have to be honest. I don't feel he's there. I don't see him. But it's pushing past that and just saying, well, he's there. I mean, oh, good. We got somebody that can find quotes who's shown up. Mayor Prasad.
I think it's the act of remembering. Just
Yeah.
remembering him brings him.
Yeah. But, it's one thing to remember him, and it's another thing to assert that he's actually there too. You remember him, and then he's there. That makes it a little more fun.
But
like,
for me, yeah.
huh?
There is an apt quote I have.
Oh, good. Here, now this settles it all.
It's a very short one, but
Yeah.
I'll read. It's from Baba.
Yeah.
Although you may not see me physically, be certain I am always with you.
Yeah. Yep. And
Because
go ahead.
Because I feel him when I talk to him and he answers me. It's just that sometimes it's just a thought that crossed my mind, you know, very subtle sometimes. It's just a feeling, or sometimes it's very obvious. One time he showed up on the lake. I was sitting on the Baba's garden on the middle bench, and I said something to him.
Uh-oh, we lost you. Oh, Lanita, somehow we lost you. Right on the verge, you're on the lake, overlooking the lake at Baba's house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I stopped. Did you stop hearing me for a little bit?
Yeah, we got to where you were at this bench at Baba's house.
Yeah, and I didn't ask anything, but my heart was very tight. You know, I was sad. You know, I was kind of, you know, it wasn't good for me that moment. You know, my feelings. I was like a little, very sad and down, and you know. And I just said it to him, what I was feeling, you know. I didn't ask anything. I just said to him, I just want to talk to him, say, Bob, I feel this way, I feel that way. And he showed up in the middle of the lake, just like that, you know. He showed up, he was sitting on a chair in the middle of the lake. And he was sitting on a chair, and he opened his arms to me. There was the most amazing thing. He opened his arms to me and he said, I'm not rejecting you. I love you. And I was like, and it's funny because every time Baba did this several times to me, you know, throughout, since I came to live here in Myrtle Beach. I never had that before. But so when I'm in agony, you know, inside, and I talk to him and he says something, whatever it is that he says, it doesn't matter what he says. But if I see him, I know that he is talk to me, all my agony, my anxiety, my sadness goes away immediately, you know, because whatever it doesn't matter what he say to me, but he takes away with his hands, like poof, you know, and leave, and I'm free of that, you know, agony in that moment. At least it might come back later or next day, whatever. But in that moment, you know, no matter what he say, if he say something that in favor to me or against me or whatever, or something that I don't like, I don't want to hear, you know, he affirming something. But it's just the most amazing is the pain that I have in that moment. It goes away in a flash, just like that. You know, I'm in peace, you know, I'm totally in peace in that moment. You know, that's the amazing thing about Baba when he talks to me. It's not so much what he says to me, but it's the way he makes me feel, you know, free of pain, of agony, of anxiety, you know. He just makes me feel happy, you know. And
it's like the sun suddenly comes out.
Yeah.
And melts all the clouds.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
It's beautiful though. See, that is fantastic, you know.
I know. Yeah.
He's ever ready. You know, if he can do that for sure.
Yeah, but he does that when I'm really in agony, you know, and my heart is torn, and I'm kind of, you know, he only comes to my rescue when I'm desperate.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I really need him, he's there for me. He doesn't come for the small potatoes. He comes just for the big potatoes.
You know, Baba did say, he who remembers me in his hour of happiness remembers me best. So remember,
right.
And the very good times, remember him. Beautiful.
Yes.
No, lovely. But that what we were you on, Mayor Prasad, when we were talking about the use of the imagination? Using the imagination, not, you know, we know the normal way of imagining, you know, how you're going to do in your at work, what you're going to have for lunch. You use that. But using what Darwin and Erich said, to use your imagination to imagine that Baba is there with you
Mhm.
in whatever way because you're imagining something that's in fact true. Even if you don't feel it at the moment, sooner or later, what you imagined, you realize he's been there all along. It's not like he comes in periodically, but he's always there, and we kind of come and go periodically. We're the ones that are are periodic.
Yeah, I remember, Erich used to say that initially you have to kid yourself that
Yep.
he is there. And then in the end, you'll realize that you are kidding yourself when you say he is not there.
Yep. Exactly. No, I mean
That initial kidding, he said that initial kidding will lead you to realizing that you were only kidding, that he was not there.
yeah, excellently. He said that many times. When I was over there, and but someone would say, "But Baba, isn't it presumptuous to say that Baba's here in the room with me?" And he would say, "Brother, it's presumptuous not to think he's there in the room with you." He would always turn it around. Isn't it presumptuous to say that I'm remembering, am serving Baba and telling someone about Baba? And he'd say, it's presumptuous of you not to think, So he would turn that around. But
Yeah.
beautiful, Anita. Beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And you suggest that we should get really depressed and pull down and everything, and so we can have the same experience.
Agony.
And then he
But
comes to our rescue when we
Baba, I mean, very often, I mean, in my own life, my lowest moments, Baba has been there and spoken to me, so that's for
Yeah,
sure that happens.
me too.
Yeah. When you, what's that quote from Mayor Prasad? Something like, basically, when you lose heart, I dare not, care not. Erich used to say, I dare not, when you come to me in your predicament, when you're in despair, I dare not, care not. And so I help you out of your situation. Yeah. Yeah. But I think many of us are old enough that we don't have some of those earth-shaking experiences so much anymore. But now here's another thing that a great hint from, I would say, Darwin. And you might find that this has been my practice for the last 50 years, which I kind of gathered from Darwin and from Erich. um, Darwin used to say there's an invisible current in each of us in the heart area. And he said that that invisible current for most people is going this way toward I, me, and mine. He would gesture. It's kind of self oriented, and that has to be reversed. That current should go out to life and into Baba. Now, and to be touch base with that. I mean, do you like say if you check in with your heart, is it flowing? Is it stalled? Is it receding? I'll ask Betty. What would you say if you check your heart? I mean, this is the thing that Darwin and Erich both really recommended. Check in, monitor where your heart is. Is it stalled? My heart has been stalled for a couple of days in spite of saying Baba's name and getting it going. It was I don't normally ever have that, but how would you say your heart is?
Well, it's kind of stopped. I just realized though, anytime I sing, it goes. Singing is wonderful for
Yeah.
getting the heart going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovers of Garland.
Yes.
Yeah, Baba said that
For
singing
me
is the
too.
shortest path to God. Baba said
Yeah.
singing is the shortest path to God. There the flow happens. But anyway, taking this image of this flow and monitoring that now, for example, can I say there are ways of getting this flow going that are different from each person. Sometimes it can be Baba's name, sometimes it can be music, sometimes it can be playing with little kids,
Mm.
sometimes it could be mystical poetry, a walk in the park. Whatever gets this flow going was
Yeah.
what and so when the flow is going, well, I'll just give you, when I wake up in the morning, my flow is not happening. I mean, I'm kind of groggy. I'm kind of groggy and whatever. My flow is kind of stopped. So I have to begin with Baba's name and get that flow going. Even in behind my morning routine and everything, I'm just, that's Baba's name. It doesn't, that's my way. And remembering Baba, sometimes I put on a movie of Baba to get the flow going. And so that by 8:30 when I go into work, I've transmuted the heavy grogginess and heaviness of waking up into kind of a living substance, and that is what fuels my day. Does that make sense? I mean, I work for several
Yeah.
hours on that. And so what happens is in the afternoon, it starts to, that current, that inner flow begins to weaken. So I have to get proactive and start it up again. I mean, and it can be an outer thing, like I can go play volleyball and that might get me flowing, or play with a kid or talk about Baba with somebody. It gets the flow going. When the when the flow isn't happening, when I'm kind of stalled out, Baba kind of feels like he's at a distance. I experience Baba kind of at a distance. And when that flow isn't happening, I I don't know what to do. I'm kind of stalled. I don't know what to do. My mind comes down and gives me various options, none of which is worth following because they're coming from the mind. And when that flow isn't happening, life just becomes ordinary, like everybody else. But when that flow is going, I don't have to ask where Baba is. Baba is the flow. I don't have to ask myself what to do. The flow leads me what to do next. And the flow, when that flow is happening, the life has a little bit of a carbonation to it. It has some like luster or brightness, a little bit of timelessness. And so that was kind of what Darwin said but this is at an inner level. It's not necessarily at an outer level. In other words, a woman, you might have to, someone may be kind of coming on to you and you don't want to be flowing externally. You may have to give the guy a drop dead look and everything, but you keep the flow happening. You keep the flow happening because anybody you don't, this is what I gather, anyone you don't flow out to, you diminish yourself by that much. If you don't like kids because they're unruly and noisy and everything, and you don't flow toward kids or through them, then you are cutting the child out of your own consciousness. You know what I mean? You're so it's like that. If you don't like you have problems with the opposite sex, and you don't flow there, you cut off half of your psyche, the which is the, say in my case, the feminine side of myself. So we have to flow, but it's at an inner level. It's not at an outer. It doesn't necessarily have to be expressed outwardly. But does that make any sense? It's
Right.
like flowing. Darwin used to say we're meant to be fluidic. He used that word fluidic. We're meant to flow. And to monitor that. I mean,
So, but
Eric,
you're saying that the flow goes from here to out and from Baba to us, you know.
yeah,
This that's what you mean flow, that is
Yeah.
kind of simultaneously to us to Baba and to Baba to us, is like a current.
yeah, if you flow to
It is
Baba,
that
if you flow to Baba, what comes back is at least 10 times more more alive.
yeah.
If you flow to Baba. And then that flow comes back to you, Darwin says, and that you can use to flow out to the world. If you flow toward Baba, but if you can flow to the world, or you can flow toward Baba. Flowing toward Baba is the best, and then he flows back, and with that flow, you respond to the world in a state of giving.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was
Right.
it's been invaluable. I mean, I I'm kind of very disciplined about that. You know, in other words, when I
Yeah.
find that
So-
I'm stalled out, that is not good. Because then I'm going to do some
Yeah.
I'm going to do some binding things. I'm going to upset things. So I have to work at that inner flow.
Yeah, sometimes for me it's like I force myself to get out of the funky mood, you know. Whatever in the morning, sometimes I'm in a funky mood, I force myself, you know, and then I start thanking Baba for everything, and I start remember everything. Thanks for my bed, thanks for my shower, my shoes. I got shoes to wear, you know, my car, my house, whatever it is, you know, my feelings, my love for you, you know, my intuition, whatever it is that comes to my mind. If I start remembering the good things, you know, that Baba provide us, the good life that we have, that I have, you know, and that funky mood somehow, you know, it kind of move away,
Yeah.
go on the back seat, sits on the back seat.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, really. No, that's
I had
it.
to
You're
force
getting
myself.
you're getting that invisible current flowing, you know. I mean, and you just try anything that works. What will work for you won't necessarily work for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I like to be thankful, you know, to be thankful and remember everything that I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
You know, everything that is surround me, you know.
Yeah.
And it's for me it's hard, Jeff, to don't let the happenings around me to take away these feelings of the flowing with Baba, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard for me, you know, if it's somebody does something to me, you know, that is not very nice,
Yeah.
you know, and though it's hard for me to keep the flow, you know, that person has the power over me to kind of push me down, you know, put me down, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody, but some people have the power to, and I'm trying to train myself to be more strong, you know, and because that doesn't matter what people say, doesn't matter what, you know, what's around me, it doesn't matter, because life is going anyway, you know, no matter what I feel, life is life, you know, and then it doesn't depend on me, you know, if the world runs and around me, no matter what, you know, and then I want to keep that, you know, connection inside, and that light, you know, the light inside, no matter what happening around me, because the majority of things that's happening around me doesn't depend on me. I don't have the control, you know. Baba's in control, not me, you know.
Yeah. And
so,
then if you from Darwin's standpoint, and Erich, if you can flow through the negativity in your environment, to flow through it, right? Normally we just stop, you know, and we stop the flow, and when we stop the flow, we're smaller. We become smaller. if we're flowing, we remain quite large. But
Yeah.
every time we stop, then we, you know, we become smaller.
Yeah.
And the soul in us doesn't like to be stuck in a shack
Yeah.
or a trailer.
But it's so
Yeah.
hard, you know.
Yeah, it's
The
a lot
people
of work.
around me.
I've been saying Bob's name for the last couple of days, and I can't. I mean, I've got no outer enthusiasm. I haven't had any. I mean, I go and tinker around in the garden, and I read some books. Well, the book, The Boys, is a good book,
Oh,
but
really? Oh, I
but
don't have.
uh,
But
you have to
Jeff,
look at it.
also
Huh?
it's hard for you now that there's no guests in the center, you know.
Yeah.
It's harder or it's easier?
Well,
You
I'm
don't have
there.
too many people to interact.
Yeah, it's great when the people are there because I don't have to ask myself what am I going to do today. I walk into the refectory and there it is, you know. There's this one and that one, and there's the cabins, there's cleaning, it all unfolds beautifully.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's nobody around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, well, we got Alan here. I mean, he's probably eating something. Jen Doan is here.
He's eating tofu with soy sauce.
Yeah.
Jeff. Thank you.
Hey,
It's
you
been
are.
nice.
Jen, how are you? Anything new with you?
Laugh
Ooh.
because Lanita just said she's eating tofu, and I am eating tofu.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
No, I was teasing Alan. I'm not eating tofu. I don't even like tofu.
Yeah.
I was teasing Alan because I don't know why I didn't eat tofu.
Jen, how are you doing? Anything to report from Portland, Oregon?
No, other than we're expecting a big well, not a big snowstorm, maybe a little snowstorm, which was a little bit of a surprise. But no, it's all nice out here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate listening to everybody because I've had a few off days. And
Well, you faded out somehow.
We can hear you.
okay, I'll have to call. Computer, no good.
Uh-huh.
Okay, just a sec.
Michelle was saying I was 5 degrees there. In Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, she was running out with the dog. He did his business. She came back in. Yeah. Whoo. Yeah.
Wow, what a difference here in Myrtle Beach. Betty, do you know how much it was today in Myrtle Beach? Do you know? You want to know? 60.
60.
62.
Oh.
Yeah.
62.
Wow. We're going to get some snow, like Jen said, but nothing like 5 degrees. Ooh.
You know, but I like the cold. Not too cold, but I like the cold. A couple of days back, we had a nice cold, days.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice. I like it.
Mayor Prasad, you got anything? Anything that you've got on hand there?
Not really.
Hey, I'll tell you. I mean, unless anybody has something, a little story that I think some of you know. Jerry Watson. Jerry
Oh,
Watson,
yeah.
longtime Baba person, and he married a woman named Mayor Tiran. Now she's the granddaughter of a woman named Prakashwati, and I'll just tell a little about her. When she grew up in the Punjab. Now, isn't let's see, where is I see that. Oh, Sham, are you from Punjab? Punjab.
Yes, from Punjab.
Yeah. Well, this woman was a woman. She was in Punjab, grew up there,
De manga, põe copo atrás aqui.
and and when she was young, she wanted to. She was very devoted to Krishna, and she wanted to wanted to have to actually be able to see Krishna. And this is when she was in her early 20s. This is in the 1930s, and she heard about this little girl in a village who could see Krishna and talk with him.
Só um
So,
pouquinho.
huh?
Não.
So she
Ah,
she went to this village and asked this woman if she could see Krishna. And
Which
this
is the
little
name?
girl,
Which village?
I don't know. I don't know where she was from, but I'll tell you this, that it was in it later became Pakistan. Where
Okay, Pakistan, then it is different because it was Punjab united when in 1930, but in 1947 it was separated.
yeah,
So her portion must have gone to Pakistan.
yeah. So anyway, so this little girl tells her, you won't have the darshan with Krishna for many, many years. And she felt very disappointed because she wanted to have this experience of Krishna. And she said, and you will have this experience, and it'll be, you will see him at a thatched hut near the Ganges. Oh man, so she was really disappointed in this because she said many, many years. And how far is a Punjab from the Ganges?
From Ganges, it is about 200 kilometers.
Yeah, the Punjab, but she was over in Pakistan, what would be Pakistan today. So it's probably maybe 1,000 miles or something,
Yes,
something like that. Anyway,
maybe
so she
less
thought
even.
that she was very disappointed in that. But then in 1947, there was a partition, and being a Hindu, she into India and Pakistan, so she left Pakistan. She never thought she would leave, and she moved to Delhi, and she settled in Delhi, and she made the acquaintance of Kishan Singh. Kishan Singh was one of the Baba's close ones, very connected with his life, and he kind of told her about Baba. Now, she went to some Baba meetings and that, and for a couple of years, but but then Baba went on the new life, and at that point he was up in Dehradun, which is, I don't know how far that is from Delhi, but she told him that Baba was not seeing him, but you couldn't see Baba during the new life, you know, and he was out of contact. Well, she thought, well, I don't necessarily believe in Baba. I don't have to obey Baba. I'm not a Baba lover. So she decided, I'm going to go find him. So she took her daughter, 2-year-old daughter, and went all the way. I don't know how far it is from Delhi to Dehradun, but up in that area. And she found out where Baba was. And it took a while, but she found out where he was, and she took this, hired a car, and pulled up to the place where Baba was. It was a place called Multachur, which is near
Haridwar.
Hardwar, near Hardwar.
Yes.
So she pulls up, and she sees in front of the door, she sees Erich and someone with his back to her. She gets out of the car, and no one was supposed to be seeing Baba at all. Baba was off limits. But anyway, Baba turns around and imparts so much love to her, and she sees that this is Krishna. She is having the darshan of Krishna. And she hadn't told anybody that she was doing this. She just did it on her own. But there she had the experience of Baba. And so Baba, uh, he didn't touch her, but he kind of gave his blessings like that. And she turned around and got back in the car. And then Erich comes running up to the car and says, Baba wants to know if you know uh, Kishan Singh and Prakashwati. And she's embarrassed and she says, well, I'm Prakashwati. You know, he says, now, when you go back, don't let anybody come and try to get my darshan. Make sure no one comes. And she gave a promise. And when she went back to Delhi, there were a couple of relatives that were just on their way to see if they could get Baba's darshan. And she argued with them, argued them out of going to take Baba's darshan. But anyway, oh, not only that, when she looked at, you know, when she saw Baba, that little Indian girl said, when you'll know that it's Krishna when you see a man by a thatched roof, a cottage with, I mean, a hut with a thatched roof, and near the Ganges. And that all came back to her from 30 years back, or 20 years back. There it was. Anyway, that was Prakashwati's first darshan of Baba, first meeting of Baba. Yeah. Jaysima, you have anything?
Nothing, just enjoying
Yeah.
listening to you and others. Yeah, but I had one question when you were saying like about the flow.
Yeah.
You were saying singing or mystic poetry or something else. So I thought like watching good movies and TV shows also come into that.
Anything, you know, anything that you can monitor it, you can feel whether your heart is flowing. This is what Eric said. Get your consciousness down here and down at the heart level and see if it's flowing, you know, or if it's stalled out, you know. And a movie can get your heart flowing, but if you watch football games all weekend, you might actually start to you might stop your flow. I mean, just monitor what everything, you know. I mean, Eric's just saying, just go down and monitor. Where are you? And then it's your responsibility to be aware of the flow. And if you stall out, you can do things inwardly to get things going again. Whatever it is, like I say, whatever gets you flowing.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
In the morning, I typically use music and about a 45-minute walk. But it takes a couple of hours after I wake up. So I wake up an hour early just for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
I wonder if, do you know if the Mandali also faced a similar thing, or is it, you know, like Eruch and Darwin Shah and others?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they had to do that internal work, you know, because they had to be in a, I mean, they had to be in a state where they could carry out what Baba wanted, which means they had to have their vitality up. They couldn't be just dragging around. So they had to get themselves in a state. Well, I'll tell you something you might find funny, but I used to work out at Marizad, and I would get out there about 8:30, and I would see the Mandali kind of milling around, and they'd all be kind of hunched over, you know, and like around 9 o'clock, and then at 10 o'clock they'd be like a little bit more upright, and by like 11 o'clock they'd be kind of like this, and then the bus would arrive, and they'd see all the Baba lovers, they'd hug everybody and everything, and it would go on. Then at 3 or 4 o'clock, the bus would go, and then they would be all just going around like that, you know, completely silent. They would be, I could tell they were regenerating. They were very absorbed in Baba to regenerate for the next day. You know, I mean, they had to get that vitality up to meet all of us, you know, as we came crashing in there. But but working there, I got a kind of a ringside seat. But after the bus would go, they would be Marizad would become just like an ashram. I mean, like up in the Himalayas, it would be absolutely quiet. Just minimal talking between, just practical things. What time is lunch or whatever, what time is dinner. But they didn't just, they were very absorbed, each in their own way. I'm sure to regenerate for the next day. Yeah. Let's see who we have here. Dinku, what do you say to this? She might be out doing some errands. I can see Jen Doan there.
I think I've got my volume figured out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you sound good.
Okay.
You are audible.
Well, not too much to report. Just again, like I said, I just had a few days where I was felt a little off, and again, I just think I just try to again kind of rewire and just keep thinking about Baba and just trying throughout the day to just invite him into everything I do. Often in the morning, though, right before I start work, I'll say, I'm going to start work, Baba, and you're very welcome to spend the day with me. I'm going to get lost in it, and I'm going to forget about you for hours.
Yeah.
Please remind me and bring me back. So
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. Huh? No. Oh. So yeah. No, that I mean that's. I think we all do all different versions of that. You know. Let me see who's around here. Now, Marinaz, now talk about like working on the inner vitality. I mean, her father, he was a generator. He was, he had Baba so strongly emanating out of him. I'm reading the book, The Boys. Do you have that, Mayor Prasad, that book, The Boys?
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. And to see them in their later years, boy, they were a reservoir of Baba's love just milling around amongst us. Even if they couldn't speak the language, it really didn't matter. They really radiated so much of Baba's love. What about Marion? How are you doing in New York there?
Hi. I had you on mute and on my speaker. Hi there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really was so grateful to be on this call with all of you and listen, because I was feeling kind of very lonely and a little bit glum, and so hearing all the stories and readings is really helpful, and so I'm here.
Yeah.
And walked in the snow. I go to the reservoir and see the different ducks and geese and all on the reservoir and take a walk, and so.
Yeah. Get out of your apartment and into Central Park.
Yes, and we get all those ducks and geese that come down from Canada, in the winter, and although it had some ice on it, but all those seagulls sitting there and all the different kinds of ducks that you don't always see in the summer. But I had something as you were all talking, that came up for me of wanting to share. Would that be okay? My quick story?
Yeah, go right ahead. Just a second. I'm trying. Wait 1 second. I've got to try to find.
It might be on the other side because it's there.
Where is it? So what does that mean? Heck, I can't. Nope, it doesn't fit. Oh, it kind of does. 1 second, Marion. I'm putting on some. I'm putting on some of these.
Some
ears.
the little earbuds.
Yeah, just. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it was, I think what sparked it is because hearing all of you talk about, Baba being there, being in the room, always being there. And I did feel kind of lonely tonight. And so even though, I know that more in my head, it wasn't so much in my heart. But then I was remembering this story came up in me about this past Thanksgiving. And I was going to write it out. I haven't done that yet, but I called it My Perfect Thanksgiving. And this being in the pandemic, this is the first year. I'm usually, my daughter and two of the grandsons and her husband live just 4 blocks from me. And usually we have Thanksgiving. We get together there and have Thanksgiving dinner, and then her in-laws come over and they come over later. But this year they had rented a house up in about an hour out of the city, and they said, "Oh, we're going to be out of the city for November, but we'd like to come in and get you and bring you up for Thanksgiving." But that was during the time we were really keeping very close, much away from each other, with masks on and all that. And I thought, I know she says it's a big house, you could have your own room, and I said, well, I didn't really want to do that, because even though they would be very, very kind to me and all that, things that I was going through, I just felt I just needed not to be in another home. So I didn't go, and I thought, well, what am I going to do this Thanksgiving? So finally I decided not to be negative, and I have this picture of Baba that I had found in a folder that I'd had for some years. I guess it was a handout at an occasion there at Mayor Baba House, and I'd never framed it. So I'd gotten out, sitting there propped up against a vase in my office room here, and I looked at Baba's picture and I said, my intention is to have a really terrific Thanksgiving, a really happy Thanksgiving, because I could feel I wanted to drop into feeling despondent. And I said, oh, no. So along comes Thanksgiving Day, and I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. One of my friends is my friend who I bike with in Central Park. She was going to be out of the city at her daughter's, so I didn't have my biking partner. And so I thought, okay, so I was here, and then I got a phone call, and it's her. It's my friend Marlene, and she said, oh, I didn't go because my granddaughter, they don't know if she has COVID or not, and they got to get retested, and they don't want me to come up Thanksgiving. They're going to come the next day when they get the results, if it's all fine. So she said, so we can go biking. So I thought, yes. So I looked at Baba's picture and I said, see what I did? I'm creating the perfect Thanksgiving. So my bike's in the foyer. I take it down in my lobby of my apartment building, and I'm down in the lobby and I hear this flap, flap, flap. And I look and I got a flat tire on the front. And I thought, oh no, I never get a flat tire. So I get out my little emergency pump to pump some air in it, and it goes flat again. I thought, oh, this is not a slow leak. This is a hole in it. I can't repair this. The bike store's closed. It's Thanksgiving Day. It's all over. I come back upstairs with the bike, and I call my friend. I say, I can't go biking. And I'm feeling really down, and I thought, how could this happen? And so she said, well, I really want to do that, and it's getting later in the day. It's starting to get toward dark. And so we didn't see each other, so I was feeling kind of glum, and I thought, no, I'm not going to give into it. So I play harmonica, and I put my harmonica in my pocket, and you know what? I'm going over to Central Park. It was still nice enough weather that I could still sit on my favorite rock over there right in the park. And there's little street lights in the park and all. Enough people around is safe. So I put my harmonica in, and what I do is I just blow Begin the Beguine on it. So I thought, I'm going to the park. I'm going to blow Begin the Beguine and sit on this rock and just be okay. So I go to the park, and I'm playing Begin the Beguine on my harmonica and whatever. It's getting pretty dark. I come home, and I get to the end of my block where there's this deli on the corner with some light that shines out on the avenue. And then my block's kind of dark. It's got street lights, but it's got these big elm trees, so it kind of makes it very dark. So I go down the street, and I thought, well, I'm going to blow it really loud, Begin the Beguine, and just really loud. And I pull my harmonica out of my pocket that I keep my keys in. And I usually never put anything in that pocket except my keys, but my eyeglasses were in the other pocket, and I didn't want to scratch them with the metal harmonica. So I get in front of my building, reach in for my keys. There's no keys. They're gone. And what am I going to do? My dear friend who has a copy, she's out of town at her daughter's, and my super, probably his family, they're probably out of town. And my daughter's away. What am I going to do? Do I have to get a locksmith? So I thought, okay, don't panic. So I fluctuated between panic and trust, talking to Baba and panicking, both. But I was a little bit more trusting, so I thought, I got to retrace my steps, go back to that rock in the park, see if they fell out of my pocket in the park. So I cross the street, go up the block, and I get to that corner where the deli light is shining out on the sidewalk, and there are my keys. And, you know, some people walk up and down the street, but nobody saw these keys, and I picked them up, and I realized they'd flipped out of my pocket when I pulled the harmonica out. And I as I started to walk back down my street, there's a little wall in front of some townhouses, and I heard Baba speak to me and said, I will never leave you. Because and then I was so filled with love and light that I had to lean against this brick wall and just stand there for a moment while this energy flowed through me after hearing that. And I just then walked home, came inside, and I looked at that photo of Baba, and I said, this was the perfect Thanksgiving. It wasn't the one I had planned. And I thought the flat tire was just perfect. The whole thing was perfect, and the flat tire included. So that's my story.
Beautiful.
And I thought, I thought I'd done such a great job of creating such a great Thanksgiving, and then was the flat tire. So it's my flat tire story, and it was my perfect Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening, you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's like Lanita and her being way down at Baba's garden and seeing Baba speaking to her, and there you're way, you know, you're low, your spirits are sunk down, and Baba often responds, and that's worth everything. Yeah,
just beyond imagination, just beyond, and I really need to hear that, because I can, when I'm feeling alone, I can feel like, well, I am totally alone, even though in my head I know Baba's there, but not really knowing it. But this was really that's speaking to me, and I was glad that brick wall was there, that sharp brick wall, because I just leaned against it when I heard that and felt so filled with the light and love. And so thanks for being there. I'm grateful you're all tonight.
Beautiful. No, these are in Mandalay Hall. These are the stories that the Mandalay love to hear. You know, Baba's little signature on these things, big things and small things. Yeah. I wonder, Alan, we haven't seen Alan. He's probably still eating his tofu. What about Marge? Do you have anything to read there? I don't know if Marge is there.
Jeff, I have a question, Jeff.
Yeah.
Like say, I constantly think that I have to improve myself. So usually I read a lot of personality development books and all that, and get impressed, and start, like, I'll try to practice and all that. But after that I feel okay. It's all my samskaras. Maybe it is like that. Have to be. So what is that? We should try to improve ourselves, or just resign to what we are.
Well, there's a natural improvement that happens, you know, like you might have had a temper when you were younger, and over the years you kind of mellow out and all that. But self-improvement is endless. You know, if that becomes your aim, it's kind of endless. Self-acceptance, I found self-acceptance is closer to where I want to be with Baba. Self-improvement, there's always, you know, you reach that, you know, stage, and then they move the goalpost, you know, and then you have to reach that level, and then you get to that level, and self-acceptance, the heart can relax a little bit. I mean, like when, say you have a goal, you know, you want to improve up to this level, there's a tension between where you are and where you want to be. And that tension is across the heart. You know, that creates a tension across the heart. And that sometimes impedes the flow of love. Whereas self-acceptance, you can relax, the heart relaxes. You know, there isn't that tension of I'm here but I want to be there. And love kind of can flow through. It can seep through. So even though, so you actually become a more loving person, even though you're not aiming to do that. But by self-acceptance is something to consider. That doesn't mean complacency, that you just kind of live with a lot of bad habits, but self-acceptance, because it's just that you'll never get control of your anger, the way you'd like. You'll never be as creative as you would like to be. You'll never, these things, they're endless. So self acceptance. I don't know. Does that make it?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
I mean, if you can get your heart into self improvement, if you can have fun doing it, that's different. You know, but if it's something like I'm deficient, I need to become better, then that might be problematic. But if you have fun getting better, like, learning how to play the piano better and taking lessons and everything, you get better and you're kind of enthusiastic about it, or you might improve, you say you have anger and you have problems with it, and you might go and anger management thing, and you get kind of enthusiastic about it because you see some improvement. I mean, some good improvement. But if it's kind of coming from, well, I'm unworthy and I need to become more worthy. I'm so that's kind of the way I look at it. If you have fun doing it and you have some enthusiasm, to me there's no harm in it. But if it's self-improvement like so many people are doing in the world, it makes them feel like they're never enough. I'm never enough. I'm never good enough. And that's not, to me, that's not a real healthy state.
Yeah, beautiful, Jeff. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Lanita, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Yeah.
So there is a joke that this guy, he's very chubby, and he's in front of a refrigerator, the open door. He opened the door of the refrigerator, and he looked, and there's nothing in there. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And then there's a caption that says, everything that you're looking for outside is already inside of you. Just to complement that question, his question about self-improvement. But that's true, it's already, that's a joke, but that's true. It's already there, you don't need to improve yourself. You're already ready, for anything.
Yeah. So
the Buddha is saying that it's a violence when we think that we're not, it's a violence against us, and against oneself, when you think that you're not good enough, that you have to improve yourself, that you need to get better. It's some kind of aggression against oneself, when you think you're not there yet, because according to them, you already have everything that you needed. You just needed to reach inside, reach and feel that, the greatness that you are.
Yeah, after a while you kind of say, well, I'm not that special a person. I'm not that great, but I'm tired of trying to improve, so I'm going to enjoy myself.
Exactly. That's the thing, everything is in there. Don't you see that you get chubby lately? Because you realize everything is already inside of you.
Yep.
Look, Dinko is here.
Yeah,
Dinko.
hey, Dinko.
Hi everyone.
Yeah. Good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been listening.
Uh-huh. Any thoughts? Any thoughts that you have?
Yeah, well, this kind of helped me a lot because, I'm always also struggling I mean, I think I've reached a state where I am better at it, but you know, those doubts keep cropping up, and every time I feel, yes, I have improved, and then something happens, and you know, I sort of tend to slip back.
Yeah.
So it's helped what you all said.
Yeah. But you know, when you slip back, Baba, I mean, I find Baba turns those shortcomings, those lapses, into empathy for others.
Yeah.
Really, you know, when they're not bad, because Baba actually makes them, you know, say you lose your temper and whoop, losing you there, but you know, you like lose your temper, you blow it and everything, but then in the future, whenever anyone else blows their temper, you have some compassion and empathy for them. You have love. You're not judgmental. So all of our weaknesses are actually, because of Baba, they can become strengths, because they give us compassion or empathy for others. In other words, if I took all of the terrible things I've done and made that a measure of who I am, you know, I should be terrible, feeling terrible about myself. But all of those things I've done have given me compassion for other people. If I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't be able to relate to that person. I wouldn't be able to. So, I mean, this isn't like a giving you a free ticket to be, you know, obnoxious. But in spite of trying your best and you fall short, it will you. I mean, there were I think I've mentioned this on late night chat once, but I once did something terrible, really terrible. It was so bad that it actually affected my whole head and everything. I mean, it was so, I felt like I had a football helmet on. And it lasted for a couple of years. And I mean, when it happened and I went to India, I told Erich about this. I said, I don't want to just hide this. I mean, I should be open about this. He said, no, don't don't tell anybody. But you know, the second year when I went, I was sitting in Mandalay Hall. Everybody had left, and I was sitting there next to Erich, and I said, Erich, why did this happen in my life? It's really messed up my psyche, you know, my head. Why did this have to happen? And Erich, he's, you know, sitting like this. He's leaning back at the wall and says, very casually, he says, now you can't hold your head so high. So these things, you know, these things go after our pride. So that's what Erich said. Now you can't hold your head so high. You know, so these things, Baba has to work on our pride of progress at the same time. I don't do that. I'm not that way. You are, but I'm not. You know, it. So Baba's wonderful in that all of our shortcomings can be very helpful in loving others, in helping us to love others instead of being critical of others. So, yeah. What do you think, Payam?
Oh, this is all so good. It's just, I don't even know where to start. You know, it's a constant daily practice. And the older I've gotten and trying to remember Baba and putting that effort in, it brings up all sorts of things, you know, and I'm trying all these wonderful habits people have like Lanita said about being thankful and just focusing on being thankful, or, you know, Jeff, you were saying the effort when you get up in the morning. And it really does have an impact. So for example, today, I decided to just open effort and grace. And
Yeah.
this is what came up. And then I saw it flow through my day, this topic. So I'm just going to read just
Yeah.
a little tiny bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Darwin talking about, this is his quote. In essence, we must let everything pass through and become satisfied to dwell within the grace of the Master and be supported and sustained by his love and grace. This is much better than preserving the ego. And it goes on a little bit more here. I'll just say it. It is immeasurable what can be accomplished through giving everything to Meher Baba. But we must counteract the tendency to hold on to things inwardly. Baba said to give everything to him. So give it all to him. Do not hold on to anything. This is part of the love exchange, to give him not only the roses, our love, but also the thorns, our weaknesses. I mean, we can go on and on. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's the whole crux of it. It's that simple in a way, but it's hard to do.
It's so hard to do. It really is.
But we're giving our, Darwin used to say that Baba's being is impressionless. And anytime we give these things in us, which are really bundles of impressions, they go to his impressionlessness and they get dissolved. They're gone forever. But as I've said, there's one layer goes and it's gone forever. But there's another layer behind it looks just like the one you gave them. You give them that one, and over time you're it's taking the peels off of the onion, and we're getting more and more. Even though it seems like we're not getting anywhere, we're still getting angry. We're still getting irritated by things. But it's as we give these things, the irritation is a little bit less, and we get through the irritation a little faster. We're less judgmental about ourself getting irritated. All of that over time, it gets better.
Yeah. And you said this before, you know, trying to rise up to our higher self within us. You know, it's like impossible. Every moment, you know, there's an opportunity. You're going to take that higher self, or you're going to go to the lower self. And that judgment part, like, you know, I'm a supervisor at work, so it's so easy to get caught up in, oh, that was wrong, or this I have to catch myself. Okay, wait a minute. Can I shift it? How would Baba want me to be? What would Baba want me to say? So then instead of spending a minute writing an email, I spent 15 minutes writing the email, just trying to put it in a way that, you know, is more loving or kind or less judgmental. But that's what I mean about the effort, you know, like,
Mani used to say, and I thought it was a beautiful expression. She would say, you have to see things through Baba's eyes. But her saying that, it's like, it's possible. You have to see things through Baba's eyes. You have to write that email through Baba's eyes, you know, not through your reactive eyes. But it's a beautiful, I always felt, that's, you know, it gives you confidence. We can see things through Baba's eyes. You know, it is a potential within us.
And I actually benefit from it. I'm the one who receives, like you were talking about being in the flow. And when I rise up to that, higher part of me, Baba, then I'm not burdened with the heaviness. I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit lighter. It took me longer, but
Yeah.
the feeling inside me is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, because some of the responsibility is off of you and onto Baba.
Yeah.
I kind of think of it as like, we're given a split screen. Over here is the excitement and the kind of worldly, kind of reactive side, and then there's the kind of loving side, the generous, the caring, the empathetic, and everything. And they're both there, And which one do you want to go with? I mean, it's like the excitement and the the drama's over here, and then this is kind of has a tranquil quality to it. The loving side of ourself, and we come up against that again and again. Am I going to go toward the reactive side, or I'm going to do the loving, responsive side? It takes sometimes longer. It's a longer email.
Well,
to
it's
get it
hard
just
to be, you're in the world, you're trying to accomplish this and do that. That's the other thing I've learned with effort and grace is, and this whole, what I just read too, is saying, okay, Baba, you take care of this. I keep thinking it's me. I have to do all these things. And remembering, starting my morning with, okay, I entrust all my thoughts and words and deeds to you. And then remembering it, 100 times through the day. Wait a minute. I'm not doing all this stuff. Baba, you have to clean the house. Baba, you take care. I have all these,
yeah.
little kids that are under my care, and I'm trying to figure out, well, what should I do or what should I say? And then I just started writing their names, and I put it in my little, area where I have Baba's picture and Mara's picture and, my sacred things of Baba. And I just put the names and I put it on top. I said, they're yours. You better put the thought in my head what to do, because sometimes I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. This is the way. And I can imagine the Mandalay had to do this same thing. They didn't just they had to go through all these contortions
Yeah.
to kind of discover what Baba wants in the situation. In light of all their reactions, to try to find out what is the loving response.
Yeah.
And that is slower in coming often.
Yes.
No, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is your mommy here? I don't know. I don't see your mom.
I don't see her. I better call her.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Let's see. And now this is Mara Namaranian. We got Jay here, and that's his wife on another.
Yes, it is Mara.
Yeah. Can she come into view?
I'm urging her. Maybe in a few weeks.
Okay. Yikes! I'm getting an emergency thing here. Ooh, an Amber Alert.
I just got that also, Jeff.
Yeah.
On my phone.
Yeah. Alan, you got any anything to throw in the soup here? Uh-huh. He's probably checking out things in the refrigerator. What? Marge, are you there? She usually has some beautiful prayers and things. Wow. Yeah. Anything else that comes up? Hey, here's something that Baba said, where he says, clean your heart completely, not a stain, no desires, not even a desire for God realization, and just be conscious. Interesting sort of thing. Clean your heart completely, not a stain, no desires, not even a desire for God realization, and just be conscious.
Conscious, he meant conscious of him?
Well,
Conscious of
just
in
to,
us?
actually, Merwan Jasawala used to say this. See, we're conscious. You're conscious here, and what happens? What we do is we put our consciousness on an object. But our consciousness is actually Baba's consciousness. We're using Baba's consciousness right here, but we keep putting it on an object. So we are making it finite, the consciousness. If we could just be conscious, what Baba calls objectless consciousness, consciousness with no object, we would be vast. We would be that we would feel that oneness. But it gets that consciousness. You know, the big one that Darwin brought home to me when I was very young is the personality self. I'm taking my consciousness and I'm focusing it on me. I've already made a massive mistake right from the beginning. Rather letting consciousness flow through me rather than hitting me and then from me going out to the world. Darwin used to say, don't think of yourself as a base of operations, think of yourself as a conduit. Think of that loving consciousness of flowing through you and not let it stop on things, you know. Let it kind of keep flowing through. Uh, that was his advice to me when I was quite young. Mayor Prasad, what do you think about that?
I didn't hear that, Jeff. I just came back.
Oh,
What was?
no, I was just saying that one of the things that Merwan said, Merwan Jesawala, when consciousness becomes aware of itself, that's the goal. And what happens is that we are using Baba's consciousness right now, you know, but it always goes to an object, and because it goes to an object, then it becomes finite. If we could flow through all the objects, if we could flow through ourselves, if we could flow through everything, then we would be enjoying that some measure of that infinite consciousness, that not finite consciousness. So when I was young, Darwin said, you know, don't think of yourself. He said, you are not the personality self. Don't think of yourself as a base of operations. Think of yourself as a conduit. Think of this loving consciousness going through you. Don't let it stop at you and then you parcel it out to other people. Let it just flow through. And Baba gave the figure in that latest book on Guru Prasad. I'm paraphrasing, but he says that, you know, we all have infinite consciousness, but we look down and we see this mind and we say, oh, hey, let me check this out. Bam! And then you become a person. Baba said, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't become a person. You would keep your infinite consciousness. But we kind of look down and we see, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to check out that mind. Bam! You come down, now you're Lanita. You know, just like that. But if we if we would just let it flow through, then we would keep that oneness going. But I don't know if that makes any sense. But it's a thing that we do, and Baba pointed it out. And Merwan was saying, you know, or Darwin used to talk about objectless awareness. That's a state where you realize that same the consciousness that you have is really Baba's. We've got it on loan. Baba's consciousness on loan, and we're using it for all these selfish things. I don't know if that makes any sense, but these things sometimes are, I find, helpful to ponder.
Yeah, in the glimpses, I don't know if it's along the same lines, but not in the glimpses, but in the new book at the Intimate Times.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I read something that I never read before. It kind of surprised me that it says, I'm paraphrasing again, it's like it says, a person in India's, the mind of a person in India is in the mind of a person in America. And in the mind of a person in America is in the mind of a person in India. I didn't quite read that kind of a thing anywhere else in Baba's discourses and all. I don't remember reading that kind of a thing, but it surprised me.
Yeah. Well, I somehow I missed it. I would have normally jumped out at me.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
time I'll get that
Yeah.
and read the actual quote
Yeah.
that he said.
I mean, it's like, like a shortwave radio. I mean, you can pick up China right here. Just as you can pick up a station from China right here in Myrtle Beach. We're a little bit like that.
Yeah.
So someone's mind is at a distance. It's if we can find the right station, the right channel, or the right radio band, we're there. I don't know if that's kind of what he means by that, but
Yeah, it was in the context of the mind being everywhere.
yeah.
And it said that
Yeah.
basically, everybody's mind is, it seemed like connected.
Yeah.
So, it was very surprising for me. So
Yeah.
I didn't quite know whether that means that the thoughts and feelings of someone else can come through me, and that was, although
Darwin said that you can actually take, say, the president. You can actually influence their mind. You can actually communicate directly to the president. He gave an example by putting, you don't have to necessarily write the letter and send the email. It is possible to communicate your sentiment to a public figure. So that's kind of a little that same kind of thing.
It's basically, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that basically I think it boils down to the fact that, we are all one.
Yeah.
And, it's just that we've created this separateness. So if we can go past that and, try to live as one, irrespective of who you are, where you are, then the mind will automatically be in tune with the other. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
No, it's exactly true. Yeah. That was one of the themes of Krishnamurti. The whole idea of separateness. We've got to drop it out so that we actually can join everybody, not as something outside of us, but as ourselves. That the idea is just a concept of separateness. I've learned that this is me. I've got my social security number. I've got my, and then I build up a whole empire of me.
Yeah.
And that is all in imagination. It'd be like, say, look at my hands. You see, I'm over here. I'm writing. I'm writing. Hey, get out of here. I'm the one that does writes the check. Get out of here. It's like there's this big fight going on. It's just the same person. One hand is like trying to edge in. Oh, hey, get out of there. Stay out of my space. But it's just really the same being. But all these things are really hard to. They sound good on paper, but it's hard to get that inner experience. But Baba's leading us to that. you know.
But where does telepathy come in? You know, because there is that a meeting of the minds. I mean, I could be here and you're there, and sort of my thought reaches you, and then you respond in some way.
Yeah,
Or
I
is
mean,
that something different?
no, I mean, ideally, you can pick up how, you know, how others are doing, whether they're at a distance or in the same room with you. It's possible to become that sensitive, that refined. Really, it's. I know Erich, Danny Ladinsky was reading the newspaper to Erich one time, Indian newspaper, and it told about um, a boat, a ship that had gone down in the ocean. And Danny said, Erich, are we supposed to feel that? And he said, of course. But it's hard for us to be that empathetic to go out that far. But Erich is saying that we have to one day get like that so we can actually feel what those people have felt. I mean, that is great sensitivity. But the potential is there. Some of the Baba people have experiences of seeing world events before they happen. I mean, serious,
Wow. Wow.
serious events where they wake up horrified, and then a couple days later, it actually happens. Yeah. Anyway, it's getting it's getting a little bit late. Let's see who. Uh, let's see. Marinaz, are you still around? We didn't hear from Alan at all. The guy's like,
Hi, Jeff.
yeah.
Great talk.
Ah,
I'm
how are you?
enjoying every single bit of it.
Anything
Wonderful.
that anything that it strikes you about that, or
You know, the other day I was thinking that, oh, Baba, the Mandalis are all gone. The boys are all gone. You know, we have some people like, Charles and Rick, and that, thank you, Baba, that they're still here. They can share. Or people like you know, yourself and some others that we still have, and we can take, spend time with them and learn from them. But what's gonna happen when everybody's gone?
well, here's
I
here's
mean, we try to be good. We try to learn from you guys, and we try
I got
to really, uh, but this is just, it's
I
sad.
got some good news for you, Marinaz.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
Bill LePage asked Erich what was going to happen in the next 700 years. And Erich said his Mandalay and his close ones were going to be coming back in. And they will be with us.
Of course.
And we will and we will see them. They're amongst us even now. In other words, the era of the Mandalay is not over. It's they're back. All Baba's close ones and his Mandalay are back. And some of these young people are his old ones coming back. And they have had that experience with Baba. Your father, if he didn't get, liberation, he's back somewhere. In fact, what Erich was saying is there's a party after this party. And then there's a party after that one. For the next 700 years, all of his Mandalay and all of his close ones will be back. They came back because they roll up their sleeves. They want to help Baba in any way they can and serve him. So some of the young people are Baba's close ones who are back, and they know him from having spent time with Baba in the 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s and some of them the 60s, and they're back. Now they won't just they won't necessarily know that, but they know Baba's ways from having spent time with him, and now they're amongst us. I mean, that's Erich's observation, and I think I've met some of these young people, and I feel like they really have got Baba at a very deep level, just right off.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
and you may run into your dad somewhere.
You never know. I'm already with him, maybe
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. No, I mean it could be a some kid that you have a special connection with, and but they're I mean they want to come back and help in Baba's advent. So Baba said that Mani would be back. She would be a perfect master and a man. Pendu would be a perfect master. He's coming back. Padre will be back. Dr. Harry Kenmore will be back as a perfect master. I mean, these guys are all around. Dr. Goer, uh, uh, Muhammad the Must. So we there and Eric said that we would be drawn to certain ones of them, depending on kind of like say if we the approach that they might have with Baba. If it kind of resonates with us, we might be kind of drawn to them. If they're kind of service oriented, we might kind of be drawn to them. Or if they're kind of a little more um, uh, devotional or kind of absorbed, we might be drawn to them. But just like Darwin was up there in New England, now he wasn't, he was very unassuming and humble, but all the people in the Northeast would kind of go to those meetings because you kind of got this, great feeling of Baba being there, and that's gonna when the Baba's Mandali or his close ones come back, you're going to enjoy going to the meetings at their place. They may not even know what they were in the past, but they have just this great presence and love of Baba, and it's infectious. So I don't know if that makes any sense, Marinaz.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
So
thanks for the reminder.
yeah, we're the era of the Mandali is ongoing.
Hey Jeff.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that Baoji's previous life was nervous?
Yeah. Yep. The Mandali named Nervous. Yeah.
I just heard that a couple days ago at one of the Zoom gatherings.
Yeah, he came back and ready to go again. Recycled.
That's great.
Who's nervous? Who's nervous?
He was one of the early Mandali. I think he was one that when shortly after Baba was realized, in that early era, and I think he wanted to be an actor, but he was always nervous. And I don't know. I think he got the nickname Nervous because he just was nervous, and had a hard time. But I think he was maybe part of the acting career. I mean, a little theater group, and he was amongst that with Baba.
Do you think his nickname meant nervous in another language, or was actually in English? Nervous?
Yeah, I think it was English. Yeah. I think he was. I'm pretty sure that. What do you think, Jasima? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's a English. Baba gave him that name.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Funny.
Great.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering because do you think these people, the Mandali, they will be reborn, or would their essence, sort of like what you hear about walk-ins, would they even, come in to a living person in some form or the other as that person changes. Could that also happen?
No, I think they'll be reborn as people. You know that I mean they might have an influence, an inner influence, like Marinaz's father may have an inner influence with her, but when he comes back, if he comes back, he'll be, you know, he'll be walking around amongst us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my feeling.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they want to get on the ground at the street level and and do whatever they can to serve Baba.
So do you think they were with Baba in all his previous advents as well? You know, like Muhammad and Zoroaster, and they've just been coming on again and again?
Yeah, but each time they get closer and closer to realization. So they can't they can't stay indefinitely, but they have a long history.
Okay.
But someone's got to, you know, they got to give up the seat, the chair for someone else.
Jeff, do you know any other previous incarnations of people that we know?
You know, people who were you mean like in the case of Bao Churi there?
Yeah.
So who well, Baba said that there's a guy named Merwin Mehta.
Oh yeah, I did
He
hear
had been
that.
Narina.
Yes.
Even when he was a kid, Baba said that that boy over there had been Narina. And he, you know, he's a great guy. He lives, you know, a few hours north of Myrtle Beach. A professor. There was somebody, one person was Rustam, Erich's, Adi's brother, Rustam. I know who he is, but in the mandala indicated, but he doesn't kind of want that out.
Wow.
He wants to be his latest self.
Was it said that Vishnu was an emperor?
Well, I think Padre said that Vishnu had been Napoleon.
Yeah, Baba said that.
I haven't got. I mean, that has been noised around for decades, and maybe someone knows it for sure. But I think Padre said that he had been Napoleon.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Dinku was Queen of Sheba. Oh, Kitty had been Saint Teresa of Avila.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Baba said. But she had also been Joseph. She was also Joseph in the. No, Norina I think was Joseph. I think Kitty was the wife of Buddha. I can't remember, but Baba. These are things that Baba said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's the Virgin Mary equivalent for Baba?
You mean Mara is Baba's counterpart, and I think most people, Erich felt that Mary Magdalene was the counterpart of Jesus, the feminine counterpart.
Right. And so who would be Virgin Mary for Baba?
Oh, you mean I don't know. Baba called Gulmai, that's Adi's mother, his spiritual mother. I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I don't know. I don't know too much about that. Gulmai. Yeah. Hey, well, if there's, let's see if there's anyone else have anything to share, or Alan, you got a anything, or you got a final quote or something?
Well, yeah, I was actually just looking at this quote book, but I don't really. I just kind of was flipping through it today when just at work and stuff, and it really it's helpful to just have little moments of Baba sayings, just to remind me of like the goal of why I'm here on Earth, and rather than getting lost in the small microcosm of my life. It helps to have that bigger remembering, like this whole sojourn of the soul. It's like
Oh yeah.
There's a huge this is a long history that I've come from and that I'm going towards, and the ultimate goal is really to be with him. And some of this job and who I think I am and what I think I'm doing and what I'm not doing. it's, it's just it's kind of like I said, it's on the micro level, and that's where my mind goes, and that's where I feel heavy or sad or anxiety or whatever. But then when I just have a little touch of his these little sayings that help my mind, for me, reading really helps, and it can
Yeah.
kind of pull my mind out of those small microcosms into back with
Yeah.
him. Yeah, very, very fast. So I mean, I could read one of these. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say. Let's see. I have been feeling lately as if when I look out that the world, I don't know if it's the world or if it's just really my own world, feels somewhat heavier, or somewhat there's some sort of cloud that I've been recognizing, but it feels like this heaviness in my heart, and I don't know what it is. Not that anything particular has really caused it. I mean, sure, life is stressful and everything, but just in particular, I don't know, the past few days or something have felt to me a little
Yeah.
bit harder to feel Baba in the things
Yeah.
that I'm doing, or remember him.
Yeah.
I don't know if have other people
Yeah.
experiencing that, but
Yeah. No, I felt the last couple of days pretty heavy.
oh, you have?
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's generally something out there, because I normally do fine myself, but
Yeah.
something is heavy. I don't know what it
Well,
is, but
it really is
collective.
helpful.
There's a heaviness in the collective, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when it gets to that level of extremity, then that's when some part of my mind is like, I don't know, but I don't know if it's like part of an addictive personality or whatever it is, but it's like it has to get to the point where I'm completely, like, really experiencing a lot of anxiety and mental suffering, like in the morning, especially. Like this morning I woke up and I was like, okay, this is just beyond my capacity. At this point, I just have to I was just had to just take Baba's name, whether or not just his name, and just just like literally just say his name, and imagine him. And even if I wasn't necessarily feeling like deeply moved or something, I was just,
Yeah.
and then I would find myself kind of smearing into like kind of this amnesia, back into just very quickly, like, and it's like it really is like amnesia. You don't even see the transition. You just go back into the anxiety, and you're like, yeah, but and then I have to do this, and that was, and I'm like, oh, wait, Baba, and then you go back to the amnesia, and you're like, and you're like, oh, something's happening here.
Yeah.
I just was like, this process is too back and forth, like, but I know that there's a reason for it in some regard, but I don't need to know why. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just happening, and it's not good, or it's beyond the good or bad. It's like, oh, this is what you have for today, Baba.
Yeah.
This is what it is today.
You know what usually completes my morning meditation is when it finally occurs to me, I put it in these words: "You are a joke." when I come to that, I think, okay, I'm ready to begin my day. That's
Wait, what? You tell yourself. You tell yourself.
Yeah, when that becomes, you are a joke.
Sorry for laughing.
Really?
This is incredibly. Wait, that's filled with immense humor.
Yeah.
You are a joke.
Yeah. You are a joke.
Do you feel humor when you say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, so all my seriousness or whatever, my determination, everything kind of lightens up. But it's hard to actually get to that point where that comes to me, you know. Wow, you are a joke. And then
That's
I'm ready.
perfect, Jeff.
Then I'm ready to begin my day.
It's true. Why do we, I mean, it is serious. Some things seem serious.
Yeah.
But in the big scheme, Alan, like you're saying, it's just so little. It's so little, but then, and it's like you have one foot in, like, this is, Baba says, this is such a joke. You're a joke. But
yeah.
And on the other side, it's like, but hurry up, get it done, and don't, shirk your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
You know how you can, like a dog, you can, throw a ball over there and goes after him, you can't do anything other than that. Well, I mean, I think that's how Baba sees us. There's Jeff. I gotta do this, I gotta do this. It's like you throw him a ball and he runs after it. I mean, it must be funny to see people suddenly, they're kind of relaxed and everything, and then suddenly they get like real serious about something, the way a dog hears something, and its ears perk up. Well, we're kind of like that. When we hit the river of sanskaras as we enter the day, we're we're impelled downstream and trying to clamber to the bank. And,
that really has affected me when you talk about Baba's attributes. Like sometimes when I watch videos of him, or even read these stories of Baba, when Darwin talks about being with him and the people he interacted with, and Baba will take on the not knowing, or take on the I don't know what it is, like the or he'll ask people to put on a play really quickly, or start dancing, or whatever it is he asks them to do, and they try their hardest to do it, and he'll either start laughing incredibly hard, or he'll be like really as if he doesn't know what's going on, like who's taking the milk, like who's taking this cream, and where did my coffee go, and like those little moments for me, that kind of attribute, I don't know why, but it touches me very deeply. It's like that's something you said. You must have said this. Something about him being alone. What did you say? You said this one time at one of these meetings, like how he has to see where something about Baba. Something about, he was talking to someone, well, can you imagine, I have to see, I'm the only one that sees this play, or I'm the only one in the audience, or
this quote. I mean, this is a quote. These are Baba's words. The same theater, the same show, the same actors, 24 hours a day, eternally. And I have not only to stay awake, but smile and clap. That's Baba. The same theater, the same show, the same actors, 24 hours a day, eternally. And I have not only to stay awake, but smile and clap. I mean, as I said, he's the only one in creation that gives his full attention to everyone. And he
Yeah.
has no choice. He has to watch each of us eternally. I mean, like I say, I don't know how he does it, and it's impossible for any human being to do this. Even a perfect master can't do it.
Mm.
But he follows everybody. But when we look at him, he's watching us. When we look at him, when we finally turn to him, that means the world to him. Because he's just been supporting us and looking after us and all that. But when we turn to him, then that means the world to him, because he's got somebody to share. He gets to share his time. You're sharing your time with him. And he, he's always sharing his time with us, but we're sharing our time with him, and that completes that means the world to him. We think, oh, because you're watching you're watching the screen or whatever, you're watching all this time, and when finally someone sees that you've been watching them all this time, wow, you're acknowledged. And that's a whole different dimension of love that Baba gets to enjoy with us.
And he already knows. I mean, I just can't imagine how. I mean, and is that, do you think, because of what he said, his divine humor? Like, how could you not get bored of that? How could you not get? I mean, just just on a human level, how did he not experience extreme boredom, just like knowing everything, like somebody was going to turn a corner, and wouldn't he feel like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
like,
no, I know that's what infinite love.
yeah.
I mean, there was a lady that came up one time and brought her baby, and she was having trouble with the baby, and I can't remember the exchange, but Baba said that, just think all the babies I have. You ever think about all the babies I have to look after?
Oh man.
You have just just one baby there, but
Hi, Jeff.
You heading off? Okay.
I'm heading off. Good night.
Good
Much
night.
love, Lenita. Thank you.
Already. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah.
One more beautiful evening together. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, let's. I think isn't anything else. I'll see if I can find one quote of Baba here. No, that's not it.
Is the final quote?
Here's the final quote.
Okay.
And you're all familiar with this quote. To penetrate into the essence of all being and significance, and to release the fragrance of that inner attainment for the guidance and benefit of others, by expressing in the world of forms truth, love, purity, and beauty. This is the sole game which has any intrinsic and absolute worth. All other happenings, incidents, and attainments can in themselves have no lasting importance.
Yeah. We sing this, Kathy make a song.
Oh, okay,
like that. So we sing that in the chorus with Kathy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful to sing that. It's really wonderful.
But that's the divine qualities which we have in us of love, purity, beauty, and truth that are at the deeper part of us, if we can express those in this world, in this crazy world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Dinku, much love.
Good night.
Sham, Marian.
Thank you.
Dinesh.
Hey, Baba.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Marinaz.
Bye,
Dinesh.
Dinku.
Yeah.
Good to see you
Thank you all. Good night.
Neff, we didn't see you, but we, yeah, Sham, beautiful.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba. Much love.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Dinesh.
Yep.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Baba loves and adores you no matter what. He just doesn't have any discrimination.
All right.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.